Hey everybody, so we've got what may be a short deck tech, hopefully.
It's probably going to be
a little bit longer.
Yeah,
There's a little bit
gonna
more
ramble.
reactions
We always
than-
ramble about these things.
But this is the deck that Matt played tonight for FNM.
This is my homebrew.
Yep, and it's we'll get to what it started off as and I guess what it ended up as in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
well, we can just talk about that real briefly. So
it
I
started
basically
off-
took the Esper hero list
that you
from
played
before rotation.
Okay.
So you lost some lands.
How
Which
many
I
sets
replaced.
ago was that?
Two.
Was it 2 sets?
2 sets. Yeah, Eldraine and Theros.
Okay, all right.
So I said, well, I'm gonna take the Esper hero shell, and we lost a few things, and which was Teferi and lands basically.
Yep.
And I wanted to add the Hound, because he's really good and he's multicolored, and I wanted to add Dream Trawler and Ashiok. And I played a bunch of games on Arena with that kind of that setup, and I realized I didn't need hero.
You just didn't need the
Just don't-
body.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need to go wide. Like Dream Trawler just ends the game on his own.
Yeah.
So it morphed into a control shell.
Okay.
So
I guess we'll start off with the lands, right?
lands are the easy part.
So you got 3 Fable Passage, 1 Castle Locthwain. I'm going to point out that it's foil. Matt doesn't play with foils.
It's
but
true.
He played the 1 foil tonight.
I did.
3 islands, 2 swamps, 2 plains, and then 1 of each temple, correct?
Yeah, there's 1 Deceit, Silence, and Enlightenment.
And
that was just to keep the mana evenly distributed.
Okay. And then a playset of the 3 shocks.
Yep.
So Watery Grave, Godless Shine, and Hollow Fountain.
Yep. And then, so there's 1 extra island because I need double blue earlier.
Okay.
And then the Temple of Silence is kind of the one that I don't really like drawing. So that might go either way.
That's kind of odd because it doesn't really produce... like you need blue on a lot of sources,
I need blue.
right?
Yeah, I need a lot of blue.
And it's the one temple that doesn't produce blue.
Yep.
So
So it's probably going to get switched if I stick to the deck.
okay.
So
then for 2 drops we have Preordained. Omen of the Sea.
Yep.
And then 4 of those, 4 Thought Erasure, 2 Thassa's Intervention.
Yep. So first of all, this card is ridiculously good. It adds 1 blue to your Devotion if you're playing Devotion.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you instant speed, and you get to see up to 3 cards. I think they call that Brainstorm.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
something
seeing
like
3
that,
cards
yeah.
is Brainstorm.
Oh, okay.
So, like, gives you a lot of card selection, and then, like, you play a land on 3, you pass, and you get to scry 2 if you don't counter something.
Yeah.
And then, so obviously Thought Erasure is hand disruption.
It's not bad late game either.
No, it's great late game.
So
And we'll get into more of that reason too.
Okay.
So then 4 Thought Erasure is just hand disruption, and you get some card selection.
that's been around for
Yeah.
a while now.
Yep.
I'm interested in that card.
So I've been playing on Arena, and this card's amazing.
First, I gotta say, Matt doesn't play on Arena much.
No, I
So that
usually rage quit the season after like the first few days of playing the season. So I think I was like level 16 last season.
Okay, so you like that. So did this card just like buy you into?
No,
or
just
the deck
I just
as a
wanted
whole?
I just wanted to play test the deck before
Okay.
I brought it to FNM.
All right.
Thassa's Intervention is ridiculously powerful because on 3, it's basically a quench.
Okay.
Counter target spell unless they pay 2. On 4, it's now counter unless they pay 4.
Yep.
Or draw 2. And anything beyond that just gets out of hand.
Yep.
The card selection is great. Like, it's not as good as Drawn from Dreams in terms of like a return on your investment, if you will.
Okay.
But it's instant speed, so I can wait. If you cast something that I want to counter, I can counter it. If not, I can start digging.
So okay. And what
so-
is it? Is it look at the
Look at the top X and take 2 of those cards.
Okay, you don't have to reveal them, right? You just put
Nope.
them in your hand.
Yep.
Okay.
And then it's counter unless they pay twice X.
Okay, so in like drawn from dreams aspects, you'd have to pay 9
You would have to pay 9
to
to
get
get the same
depth.
conversion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but it seems fine at instant speed.
Yeah, and granted, like, we'll get to Teferi. He makes Drawn from Dreams an instant.
yeah,
But,
yep.
like, you're getting also the versatility of countering versus drawing.
Okay.
So then... obviously-
Multifunctional spell.
Yeah, so, like, we can go over the 3 drops now.
Yeah, so and then the 3 drops coming with the counter from that. You have the 4 absorb, full play set in here. Just 3 Teferi?
I started out at 4, and I kept having multiples in my hand.
Oh, this doesn't seem good.
Yeah, so I went down. It might be correct to play 4, but you know how I draw cards.
Yeah, exactly. It's very odd. I'm glad to see this card make it back into.
Yeah, people
a
forgot
deck
that was in Standard.
I forgot it was a card.
Guilty.
Yeah, and got owned by it in the game. Not tonight, a while ago. Destroy target creature or enchantment.
Yep.
So it seems pretty good. I think it's well positioned in a shell that can play anything Zorzov. And then 2 Oath of Kaya.
Yeah, I only have 2 on Arena, which is why there's 2 in the deck. And I found myself sideboarding it out a lot tonight because a lot of things have 4 toughness.
Okay.
Everything in Gruul had 4 toughness.
So where we went from a, smaller. So
I still played
3/2s?
it against. I played Sarah in round 3, and I left it in against her because she has a lot of 3 drops or 3 toughness. But in the Gruul matchup, it was bad. In your matchup, it was bad.
I gotcha.
So like it's good against aggro, and I don't think I'd go to 3.
Okay.
A lot of people are playing 3.
All right, I'm gonna come back to this card.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip over for a
Okay.
second. 2 Eat to Extinction.
Yep. I don't feel comfortable playing a game of Magic without instant speed exile effects,
I think they're great.
especially with indestructible creatures.
Yeah, they're a great ad.
And it's funny, it does surveil 1, but it's not a surveil 1 because it's a Ravnica mechanic.
Yeah, the wrong.
So that's why
set,
it's not recycled into the new set.
which would be similar to Opt,
Yeah.
right? The original Opt, I should say.
Yeah, because the original app didn't say scry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just puts the whole words out, and then you have 2 Atris, Oracle of Half Truths. Very hard to play against.
Yeah, so like this is the mind game card. If you've ever played a Gifts Ungiven deck, which I played in Modern for a while, you just get to play mind game. Well, they get to play mind games with you, unfortunately, but like more often than not, like it's always getting you 1 card, and more often than not, they're gonna put the 2 worst cards face down and the good one face up. So you just take you usually want to take the 2.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Dream Trawler.
Unless you're me and you have to watch our game. When he did that the first time and actually got another person on that exact same situation.
Well, and of course, it's always going to be depending on the situation, but in general, the player's going to want to take the 2 cards.
Right.
And there was a game where I took 2 lands and was fine with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you want to hit your land drops.
They don't know what you're looking for, which is the fun part about it. And like against Sarah, she left an absorb up and 2 lands down. So I was like, well, I'll take the 2 because the absorb doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right now, and of course it's 2 lands.
And I think I did the same thing.
That was the game where I had like 12 lands already.
Oh, so you ended up with more. I ended up with even more.
I had like
of course.
6 lands in hand and 1 spell. I'm like, great.
Yeah. I guess relevant to note, it's a 3/2.
It's a 3/2 for 4. It's okay. It has menace.
But it has menace.
So it can get in some chip shots basically.
Yeah. Which is, you also don't have too many ways outside of this to win the game, right?
I do.
I mean, you have this.
I got 5 win cons.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
back
a lot.
Go back to the 4. I know you actually sent a tweet out.
I tweeted about this card because this card is amazing.
Also, a thing to note, Matt doesn't Twitter.
I don't do the Twitter ever.
So
I don't even think I tweeted that we were streaming tonight.
Probably not. Whirlwind Denial.
So this card reads, for each spell and ability your opponents control, counter it unless its controller pays for it.
I'm gonna give you.
I will point out that this doesn't actually target a spell.
I want to give you a scenario.
Okay, I know what you're gonna do here.
So, I'm playing Simic.
Of course you are.
Right, so I cast, I have a bunch of lands and stuff, and I cast this Hydroid Crisis
for like 10.
10, right?
Yeah.
X equals 10.
X equals 10.
I'm feeling pretty good.
You're immediately drawing 5, right?
Yep, just gonna go get
JK,
it.
hold on, back up a second.
Why?
Because that spell is on the stack, and that ability is on the stack now. So I'm going to cast this Whirlwind Denial and counter both of them unless you pay 4 for each of them.
For the low cost of 3 mana. I might add.
For 3 mana. And then I say it's interesting because it doesn't target the spell. It's a 4 each.
Yep.
So if there was some weird scenario, like change the target of target spell, this isn't targeting the spell.
Okay.
And that's not relevant in Standard as far as I can think of.
I was trying to think of if there's another, you had Veil of Summer, but it makes your spell, that makes your spells uncounterable, but hexproof.
So there might be some
somehow?
corner case where the wording on this is relevant, so keep that in mind.
Is there a way to give spells hexproof?
I don't know. But
somebody will have to let us know.
Yeah,
if
but
there
there's redirect.
Right.
Yeah, you can't redirect this to
something else
itself or something.
Yeah.
So
Makes
anyways,
sense.
going on. We're at the 5.
So 5. So we have
Yep.
2-time wipe. I'm assuming just removal for your aggro
So a lot of
matchups?
people are playing Shattered at the Sky in the main deck, and sure, it's an earlier board wipe, and in most cases, those early board wipes aren't letting their opponent draw a card because they don't have a 4 power. this picks up your Dream Trawler or your Atris.
And allows you to reuse your Atris
to get more cards.
Okay.
And like Dream Trawler is so hard for opponents to remove that if you have to board wipe because you're in such a bad losing position, you get to pick it up and save it.
Okay. That makes sense.
I do have the Shatters in the sideboard. I'm probably gonna need more board wipes based on
Which
the Gruul matchup tonight.
Gotcha.
Because it was very grueling.
I see what you did there.
Okay, so next
so
card.
yeah. To Ashiok Nightmare Muse. How'd you feel about this tonight?
You know what? On Arena, it feels really good.
I was gonna say, I know that you said that you were liking this card a lot. You're
On
making
Arena,
multiple creatures with it and doing some.
Oh, and it's great when you bounce tokens.
Yeah, as I say, seem like they're busted things.
Tonight, I did win a game against Sarah by using the +1 a lot.
Okay.
I didn't mill her out, but I did play enough creatures that like she just couldn't get through.
Okay.
And I don't think I cast one otherwise.
Did you use them as 7?
No, I never got to it.
Okay.
Maybe I cast them at other points, but like it didn't impact the game enough to where I can think about it.
Okay.
And then 3 Dream Trawlers. This was my MVP pick for the whole set. Just from a standpoint of like my style of play, I like to play control decks, and this is exactly what control decks need. So it's flying, it's lifelink. Worth noting, it swings for 5 minimum.
I was gonna say, now that's only with 1 though, right?
Yeah, minimum 5. And then the important part is that its abilities, when it attacks, you draw a card, and you can discard a card to give it hexproof, and it does tap it. So like your opponents can play around that a little bit, but it refills your hand. And that was the problem we had with like Prognostic Sphinx, was you had to still generate extra cards, or else saving it every turn means you can't play anything. And this is drawing extra things. So, like one thing to point out, I did this many times tonight. Teferi, bounce the Omen, draw a card, play the Omen, draw a card, attack, draw a card. Now I've drawn 4 cards for the turn.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the only thing that really like hurts that in any way is Narset that I could think of.
Yeah, sure, and like that's
but
why.
It's still 4.
Yeah, and I'm playing E2 Extinction.
Yeah,
like I have ways to deal with Narset.
But I also seem like Narset's also that very like corner case card.
And also, if they've used Narset, that kills it in 1 shot.
Right. It's already going to be 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4.
So
4
even if they haven't used it, they're not going to get to use it. Right.
So like it's not. Yeah, Narset's not really a big deal here.
Okay.
And like you're going to respond early with Omen to play your spell.
Yeah.
Like.
Yep.
Like you can play around Narset pretty easily. And like obviously Ashiok can bounce it and then you can attack, get your X to draw. Like there's ways to deal with it. And then the sideboard, I have a lot of 1-ofs and some 2-ofs.
You'll notice that they're kind of
overlapping, so we'll go over them. Go ahead and read them.
This one up here it's Elspeth Conacher's Death. It's actually the Saga.
Yeah.
I like this card. Did you ever put it in tonight?
I did. I put it in, and it's ridiculous. It probably needs to be in the main deck.
You put it in against me. I know that. So.
Yeah, I did. So it's really, really stupid if you play it and then bounce something with Teferi, maybe itself, and play it again. Or like maybe you -3 Teferi when he's on 3 and then reanimate him with the Conqueror's Death on the 3rd history or lore counter.
Whatever,
So like it's repeatable removal with Teferi, which is really dumb.
That seems pretty good.
And the same can be true about, like Oath of Kaya, obviously. Like, that's been a thing for a while.
I can't imagine too much that the
second lore counter
came up too much tonight.
Yeah, not too much. I don't know if it even came up against you.
No.
I don't think I played it against you.
You exiled something big, and this big I think I scooped because I died to Dream Trawlers or something. All right, I guess next card is a Revoke Existence. I'm surprised there's only 1.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of cards I wanted to play with.
Okay.
So I'm just really trying to test things this week. Revoke Existence could go up. You get to play at instant speed with Teferi. Hits a lot of things like the gods.
And so it's exile.
Yeah, and it's exiled. Embercleave, Great Henge, like a lot of good targets.
The more powerful enchantment.
And it's a cheap way to deal with them.
Okay.
2 mana.
So then we have, we talked about this a little bit already, Shatter the Sky.
I'm not super thrilled about it. It is a board wipe.
We had a discussion about this because it was the whole thought Wizards wasn't going to print 4-mana board wipes.
And I said it isn't. It's a 4-mana board wipe with a downside, effectively. And in like this deck, unless I play it with a Dream Trawler in play,
and you've drawn a card.
Well, yeah, I'm drawing my card for the turn.
Yeah, that's
it's not going to draw me a card very often, but there's a good chance it's drawing my opponent a card. So like unless you're getting unless you're just drawing 3 creatures with it, it's not card advantage.
Okay. So I guess so these could.
I'm gonna keep playing with it.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
I think it's easier to cast than Rituals. Well, it's probably easier to cast on my mana base. Either one actually. But Ritual Soot is only 3 CMC.
Yeah, it only hits your lower end creatures.
Yeah, so like it serves a different purpose.
So could you you could probably potentially see some number like Shatter Ritual Soot in the sideboard, like combination maybe.
You could
give you just like if you're playing against those low end decks, you could play Ritual where it's not going to hit your Dream Trawler.
And Cry of the Carnarium's still a thing, and maybe that deserves a slot because it hits the cat decks better.
Yep. Okay.
So I don't know. Play around with it.
Next is
Kanoros.
Yeah, Kunoros, Hound of Athreos.
K-Dog.
K-Dog, that's good. Thing to know, it's Athreos, not Atheros.
Yeah. Which
I didn't realize till this set that it was Athreos.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, I never played the god in the original set.
So I was really excited about this creature. Not when you told it to me because I wasn't listening.
Yes, because I did read this card to him like 5 times.
I literally didn't listen because I didn't want to.
And I told him, I was like, dude, this is gonna be a card that you are going to play in Standard.
So this, I call him Mini QB, Mini Questing Beast.
Yep.
He's got 3 abilities, keyword abilities: Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink, and then he's also Grafdigger's Cage on a body. So I figured it'd be really good against the cat deck as long as you can avoid sacrifice effects. So you do have to play around a few things, or make sure the thought erasure, make sure the coast is clear, kind of thing.
Yep. It's the thing to realize is it's creature cards and graveyards can't enter the battlefield. So the next card that we're gonna get to isn't relevant from the Ethers.
It is.
What's that? We can't cast spells from cast spells from graveyards. Okay.
Yeah.
And another piece of text on there, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
There's more text.
Because questing beast.
Yeah.
But I guess.
I didn't get to use him tonight.
Okay.
Use it tonight. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl dog.
Sure, whatever it be. I think there's only one really graveyard.
Yeah, I put it in against Sarah. She was playing the Rakdos Sacrifice deck, and I didn't draw it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it stops cat. It stops. It doesn't actually stop Gutter Bones, right? Because it's just coming back to your hand. So they can get
correct.
Gutter Bones back, but it stops the escape mechanic, which was huge. Because that's playing Ghost Rider, which is also Woe Strider.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And then we'll get, I guess, next card, Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis.
Yeah, I put that in for basically if I went to a really grindy, mirror match type thing. Okay. Because I could keep playing it and keep making bodies
with it. So if you had played somebody like the other Esper control player.
I would put that in against that. I had a lot of things to put in against aggro, and that was one of them I was considering because just playing her and gaining 5 is pretty relevant, and then absorbing 2 damage, and then escaping it later is relevant too.
I guess the thing to note is that the escape mechanic. I want to go over this real quick because it came up in pre-release where it's being played wrong just a little bit.
Okay.
Because the escape mechanic is you actually casting the card. Mm-hmm. So when you escape the card, it immediately goes onto the stack. Mm-hmm. So you can't respond to the escape mechanic by exiling that card from the graveyard.
Correct.
And I believe, the first release and when I was doing when I was actually playing in my game, we had played that wrong, not realizing that escape was an alternate casting cost, not an activated ability of the card itself. So I guess just a thing to note.
Steps to casting a spell. First step, move the spell to the stack.
Yep.
It might not literally be the first step. I think it is. This literally moves from the graveyard to the stack. And then you have to go through the steps to casting a spell, which a lot of people don't know.
But a little bit different than, say, sacrifice a food.
Yeah, bring cat back.
Yeah. They're both coming from the graveyard into the battlefield, but one's an activated ability and one's actually casting the spell. Yep. So just something I want to note, just the fact that you have this. So
it would
be an activated ability.
Yeah, if K-Dog's in play, you just can't cast it anyways.
Right, because you're casting it, and not using the ability.
Yep.
So I guess We go Ethereal Absolution.
Yeah.
I know you're really high. You have been really high on this
right
card
there
for a very long time.
Yep, that won me the game 2 against Sarah, the Sacrifice deck. So it kills Cat instantly, kills Gutter Bones, they can't come back, and I make 2/2s, which is pretty good. And then I exile things that
are in the graveyard.
So like if she has a triggered ability to get it back, I exile it.
Seems pretty good with that.
So it like shuts down the whole graveyard.
Yeah.
So this was my sideboard against her.
Okay.
I pulled out I think I pulled out like the Whirlwind Denials and the Thassa's Interventions.
Okay.
Because I don't have time to dirtle, and I put those in.
Okay. Which brings us to the next card.
Yeah, Kaya. This was probably my favorite Planeswalker. It might still be up there in Standard. I like 3-mana Planeswalkers. I'm not gonna lie.
3-mana Planeswalkers usually seem pretty good.
Yeah, and like her abilities. First, your initial impression is they're like meh, but you got to think about all the things it hits. 1-drops, Oven, Cat.
Yeah.
That's really all you like.
Well, I guess the important part to note there is the first card that you mentioned, which is Oven, which is a harder card.
Yeah, it's
for
hard
a lot
to deal
of decks
with.
to deal with. You have the Mortifies, so in the midboard.
That doesn't hit artifacts.
Oh, it only hits the Cat.
Yeah.
So do you have any other ways to interact with it?
In the main deck, if I can actually get the Cat with an E2 Extinction.
The Oven.
The Oven, I can bounce it and counter it or Thought Erasure it.
And that's about it, right?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
It's extremely hard.
Bounce it with Ashiok and make him exile it.
So Kaya is very
Kaya's really good. And then against Sarah, I had a turn where I had... I don't remember how much mana I had. It was like at least 9. Okay. And I think I played Ethereal Absolution and Kaya and instantly hit a Cat and something. Will Strider. So I gained 2 life with Kaya.
Okay.
Which put me out of like a sacrifice range.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I untap and I can start making spirits. And my spirits are 2/2s, and her creatures, like her Murder Strider's a 1/2. It dies to my spirit every time. So and like her what's the sacrifice 1 damage thing?
Mayhem Devil.
Yeah, Mayhem Devil's a 2/2. So now my spirit trades with it.
Yeah.
The priest can't do anything but use its ability. It's a 0/1. So like Absolution is a great card.
It seems to pair really well. I'm surprised that I know you're playing. There was a lot of cards. Yeah. I'm just surprised that you only played 1 Kaya.
Oh yeah, I ran out of room.
Yeah, and so I
love Kaya.
That card's
like,
really good.
When Mono Blue aggro with Curiosity or whatever it was.
Yeah, you hit the Curiosity.
Yeah,
not the creature.
Enchantment. Like Kaya was great. It hit everything in their deck except Tempest Djinn.
Yep.
So.
So the next card is the other.
Yeah, the full play set.
Whirlwind Denials.
Literally just put it against Simic.
Okay.
They're always going to tap out for the Crisis. They're never going to leave up 8 mana with Crisis.
Yeah, so this is your like tap out style against your tap out style deck. You're putting the other ones in. Okay.
Yep.
Agonizing Remorse. I
never put it in.
I'm
it was
interested.
For control.
Okay.
I considered it against Sarah because she was running Escapes. So I was considering playing it there because you could exile like a Cat from the graveyard or an escape card from the graveyard. But I didn't have enough to take out.
I'm super interested. I guess so. I know your thought process about the whole thing. It's 2 mana, so not really 2 mana intensive. I guess it's so target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it or a card from their graveyard and exile that card. And you lose a life, which it's not very relevant.
There's a good amount of life gain here, so.
I kind of expect this to see more play.
It's probably going to see main deck play.
And I was going to say, not necessarily out of the sideboard.
Yeah, I've seen lists that were a lot lighter on like blue mana requirements that were running that instead of Thought Erasure.
Okay, well, and that's like this seems like a fairly easy swap depending on what you would want to do.
You could.
And not
I draw lands.
Right, so surveilling them is
so I would prefer the surveil.
But like you could almost play like a 3-1 split if you wanted to.
You could play
or
a 3-2.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I do think Agonizing Remorse is very good.
Yeah, it's a very good card. And like it's better late game than Thought Erasure is. Like if they're out of cards, you still hit something from the graveyard.
Right, you get the one relevant creature that's there. So next we have Elspeth's Nightmare.
Yep. One of those and one of the White Saga. Which is the Birth of Meletis.
Yeah, Birth of Meletis, right?
Sure, whatever.
I'm gonna note we didn't do this and we should have because
I'll put the sagas together.
Elspeth Conquers Death and Elspeth's Nightmare there.
Might as well put the Sagas together. I mean, if you're going to be OCD about these.
I just had to do the two of them because they're the two Elspeth cards.
So I was putting both of these in for aggro, and I wanted to see which one I liked better.
And we're talking. So I will go back to this. We're talking about these two cards,
yes.
Right? Okay.
So the white one is like it fetches a plains, and then it creates a blocker, and then you gain 2 life. All 3 are irrelevant abilities. Like you want to hit your land drops. There's 2 plains in the deck, so it's probably hitting one unless you have 2 in your opener.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah, and then Elspeth's Nightmare, the first lore counter is destroy target creature with power 2 or less, I believe.
Destroy target creature an opponent controls.
Yeah.
Power 2 or
and
less.
Then I don't have a creature with power 2. So.
I mean, if you stole something somehow.
Yeah, that's true. And then the second one is basically you get to duress them.
Yeah, choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, and they discard that
And then
card.
the third one is exile. So
their graveyard. Exile their graveyard.
Yeah, exile their graveyard. So my thought process here was if there's an aggro deck, I can blow up a 2-power creature. Then I can get a 2-for-1 by taking something from their hand.
Okay.
And let's say it was like a risk factor, because people play that here. Mm-hmm. Then the next mode exiles it from the graveyard.
Okay.
And my thought was either one of these would be great to bounce with Teferi on 3. Well, on 4, I guess it would be. Like 2, and then you could bounce
3,
it, or 3 and 4 and bounce it. Yep. And so you can get some repeated removal while drawing extra cards.
Okay.
But what I found was I already had enough stuff for aggro, and I didn't need those.
So did you put these in it all?
I never put them in.
Okay.
And right now, like, I'm still kind of playing around with the deck to see what I do and don't like. So, like, playing against Sarah, I didn't know what to take out. So I took out these because she was drawing a lot of lands too, and this gets worse the later you go against a deck that's playing 1-drops.
Oh yeah.
And
they'll pay 5 for it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't have. I didn't really feel like I had time to dirtle with drawing cards. And again, like the counterspell mode is not great against small things. So I took those 4 out against her, and I put in the ways to shut her down.
Okay. You have a lot of things in the sideboard that are
anti-creature.
Yeah, as it's anti-aggro.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's what I expected to play against tonight.
And I'll be honest, I did too.
Yeah.
That's why I played the deck that I played. It was not for any other reason there.
So what I would like out of the sideboard, I probably want more Elspeth Conquers Death because it's ridiculous when you bounce it with Teferi.
Okay.
Also worth noting, with Ashiok, you can bounce your own permanents.
Yep.
You do have to exile a card from your hand, but if you bounce a Saga to replay it, it's still a good trade.
Yeah, you just make sure you have like a hold land.
Hold lands. Like you're doing that anyways for Dream Trawler.
Now, so I have to ask. Now I know you said Dream Trawler's MVP, and like we've talked extensively about this card outside of any of this. Aside from that card, is there anything else in this deck that you don't think is flexible?
I think if people are playing Simic, you have to keep this in.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's probably cuttable.
Okay.
If your meta doesn't have Simic, cut it. Because it's just kind of a lackluster counterspell at that point.
To note, ours does. We usually has a couple of people.
2 or 3 people tonight playing Simic. I would like to put the Elspeth Conquers Death at least 1, maybe 2 into the main deck.
What do you cut for that?
I think Eat to Extinction functions very similarly. So I think you could make that swap as long as you keep your curve low.
Is this just exile target permanent and opponent controls a converted mana cost 3 or greater? So there's really not anything that's
your little stuff you're taking care of here.
As I said, there's not much that's 2 mana or less that you're worried about, right?
No.
Okay.
So Elspeth Conquers Death, it's really good with Teferi.
So would you think maybe swapping like the Elspeth Conquers Death for the Eat to Extinction, swapping them?
You might even just sideboard? Cut one if you're gonna do that. I don't know if these have a place. I really just wanted to bounce them.
Yeah,
and replay them.
I'm not sold on the Birth of Meletis.
Yeah, that one is. I think Elspeth Nightmare is better in this.
Yeah, I'm just not. The card as a whole.
Yes, I would cut. Okay, I would cut this from the sideboard. I would probably.
Like, I'm looking at the sideboard, and I'm actually like, you need like 19 slots.
Yeah, you really do, and that's why there's so many one-ofs. Like, I probably want 2 board wipes still, and I might actually take one of these out and put in another time wipe.
And play one shot of this guy, one time wipe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Conquer's Death, I think you leave one in the board and maybe fit one in the main.
So maybe just cut the Eat to Extinction, put a Elspeth Conqueror's Death in the main board?
Okay. Yeah, and it's going to be meta dependent too, like, because this is a 4-drop, and it's much easier to cast than a 5-drop. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing in like a fast meta...
So no, it's also double white?
It is double white, in which case you probably need to adjust the temples.
Yeah, so...
And like that's the weird part, because you need the black-blue, you need the double blue, and you need double white, and double blue. So like that's why there's 3 islands instead of like 3 planes.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I mean I'm really happy with the deck overall, and I don't think there's many changes necessary, but you do have to tweak the sideboard a bit, and I don't know what the correct tweaks are at this point.
So now I guess to go back to what we first touched on, because I said I wanted to talk about this just a little bit. And you talked about the fact that it started off as a hero build. Mm-hmm. You realized you didn't need hero because Dream Trawler.
Yeah, there's no need to go
I know somebody at some point in time is going to say, but hero slots right into this. Look at all of the multicolored spells that you're playing.
So, like I said, I started with hero. Now, one thing you could do, put 4 heroes in the sideboard.
Board into an aggro?
Board into an aggro deck and pull out your monocolored stuff. Maybe some combination of those 4.
Okay.
And if you're going aggro, I would definitely pull those out because you're not looking to counterspell things.
Right, you're just looking. I mean, maybe you keep the omens in because you need to find one.
You would basically protect your hero with the multicolored counterspell.
Create another token.
You're going to create a token and protect it at the same time. And that could be a way that you go with the sideboard. You put 4 heroes and you put in a couple things for like meta dependent things.
Things are like where your meta might actually
we have cat decks, and I hate cat decks.
Yeah.
So I'm playing anti-cat cards.
So that's interesting. I wanted your opinion to that, because I do know like there's a lot of hero floating around, especially in Arena right now. It was the real like. I mean,
I still think it's a good deck, but I don't think you need hero anymore.
So I guess it's not that it's bad. You just don't need it to do it.
You just don't need to go wide.
Okay.
And like things like Questing Beast, you can't block with any of the stuff.
Right.
So like, and I bring that up because a lot of people here are playing Questing Beast.
Yep. Yeah, we see a lot. There's a lot of green.
Yeah.
At this store.
Yep. So again, if your meta is different, then maybe you disagree. Maybe you like hero over
changes.
This. But yeah. So that's the deck. I'm gonna keep tweaking it, and maybe I'll play next week. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
We'll find out.
It's hard for me to play and run the event and run the stream.
It's very difficult.
But anyways, we'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching, everybody.